So I'm Jo Lockwood. I work at Mindtech. So Mindtech is an NIHR funded centre which focus on the development of and evaluation of new technologies for mental health. And I work specifically in the area of youth mental health and self-harm and suicide in that area. And a lot of my work explores how we might create resources for young people, but also for those that work with them and parents and carers. And we do a strong amount of PPIE and working with local community groups and charities. And I also bring some lived experience as a carer of a young person. So there's various hats that I have. And if we go to the next slide, I just wanted to just make this real visual point about this is the University of Nottingham, which literally has an ivory tower, and it has barriers on the entrance to the university and stuff. And we really have to think about some of those things when we're trying to engage meaningfully and in a welcoming way and in a respectful way with different groups, and particularly when we're talking about young people. So it's something that we have this strong visual reminder of. And if we go to the next one, what I thought I would just share in the little bit of time that I've got with you today is that because we do such a lot of work with young people, we really focus on how we can make that creative and how we can make that fun and engaging and how we can listen to young people's voices, but make sure that we're doing that in a safe and supportive way, particularly given the topic that we're talking about. And there are various things that we make sure that we do, which are things like being engaging, but also things like making sure we're offering connections for people, making sure we're offering different opportunities. That might be to work on a project with us, but also to do some other stuff with us, maybe present things, maybe learn some other skills, maybe, have a chance to create videos, which is what I'm going to talk to you about. We follow all of the same guidelines that Leo's talked about in terms of making sure we're rewarding and paying for the expertise that we're receiving. And we really want to work with young people because we want to make interventions and mental health interventions that are relevant, that actually work, that actually meet needs. And so we can only do that by really talking to people and working with people for whom they are based. So if we move on to the next one, trying to remember what I put on my next slide. Oh, yes. So this is an example, for instance. So one of the projects that I work on is called Digital Youth. This is a UKRI funded, huge interdisciplinary program of work with lots of different work packages. And as part of that, we have an embedded young people's group called Sprouting Minds, and individuals, there's about 18 young people. Individually, they're all known as Sprouts, and they work on the different programs of work with us, and they're all incredibly creative. And if you go to the Sprouting Minds website, and I'll make sure I share that, you can find some resources that they've actually put together themselves. So these are videos that they have created where they've talked about what they think PPI is and why they think it's meaningful. And a really cool part of that has been making sure that we're not just engaging the same people all the time, that we're going to different places and community groups to make sure that we're getting people with different experiences in there. So that's one way in which we've kind of offered the opportunity for them to kind of share their story. If we go to the next one, we've got another example here. So we try and do all sorts of different ways in which we can make sure that we are hearing from young people about what they think about research. So this was something that we did on a platform called GatherTown, which enables you to join, create a little avatar, and then wander around a workspace that you've created. And what we did is we invited young people, academics, different people to the group to hang out, and you move your avatar along, and as you come close to somebody else's avatar, it opens up a Zoom chat where you can actually have a regular chat with them. But the rest of the time you can wander around like this. And what we did was an idea-thon where we got people to come and talk about their ideas and then actually directly engage with young people through this digital platform to find out what they thought about it. So that's another creative way that we've done something. And then the next slide is another example where we actually decided to do a Dragon's Den. So we had some young people with lived experience of mental health issues. We gave them a pot of money. It wasn't real money, but interesting, one of the researchers was like, is it going to be real money? And we were like, well, no, but you've still got to pitch and you've still got to kind of ask them whether they would invest in you. And we got academics, put them on the back foot to kind of pitch their ideas and to suggest, you know, do you think this is something that's got value? And then our young dragons gave us information about whether they thought it would work or not. And we did all this online. And we offered lots of support around how they might make decisions about whether it worked for them, but we really wanted them to have their own opinions. And it was a really fun and good way of flipping the dynamic a little bit between researchers and young people. So, and then just another example before I move on to the videos, if we move to the next slide, this is the digital youth program of work that we're doing, and I'm working on developing an app, CATS app. So this is going to be a tool that's going to enable young people to tell their story of their self-harm through using an app. It's based on a research tool. We're co-creating that with young people. So we've got our sprouts who are helping us to design how we go about that, but then we're actually working with more young people to do co-production workshops. And the little schematic on the side there you can see is the planning that we put in place for all the different steps we were going to do before ending up with a co-production workshop. And I just wanted to show you how much is involved in making sure that we are involving young people in the right way before we even get to co-producing something. This is all the PPI first work that we did with our sprouts. So moving on, thank you, my slide lady. Oh, that's fun. So that's doing something. I imagine you've got to keep clicking, Leah, because I think there's some things going to come up. Yeah, and it kind of, some of the stuff that you've had from Leah before around what we put into it is that last slide was about, you know, making sure we've got shared agreements, making sure we're thinking together about what safety might look like, making sure we're recognising and providing things in a clear way, making sure we have agendas, shared ways of keeping in contact. If people want to contact us via WhatsApp rather than email, we offer that. So there's lots of different ways that we think about how we're going to involve young people in our PPI work. Next slide is going to be the one that we just briefly saw. Yeah, and then we do things like fun activities, and we have little logos and things that we try to make sure that, despite the fact that we're talking about quite difficult topics, the way in which we engage and all the work that we've done building up our relationships together means that this becomes a fun and supportive and creative space. So the next bit I'm going to show you, if we move on, is some videos that we've created. Now, working with some of the young people that we have in our digital youth and sprouts, we decided that we would create a set of how to do co-production and involvement and PPI with young people, but we would get young people to create the resources for this. And so what they did is we worked with a core group of people to kind of work out what we needed to do and how we were going to do this. And from that, we decided we were going to do 3 short videos. They were going to be pitched at researchers, intrepid researchers who wanted to do PPI with young people. And it was going to be thoughts from young people about how to do this well. We then engaged 2 other young people who, again, everybody had lived experience of mental health difficulties and often suicide and self-harm, but they were there to kind of bring in some of their creative expertise as well. And so 2 young people were responsible for creating these videos, and they decided to do it through sock puppets. And you might kind of think, what on earth is that going to be like? But when you see them, I hope you'll agree that it's really good fun, and it really packs a punch and shows you know, how to do it. So that's who Dr. Sock is. He's a sock puppet in the videos. And we'll just go through a couple of the next slides, and then hopefully we can show a bit of one, Leah. But so we've got on the next slide, hopefully, just a breakdown of what's happening in the 3 videos that we ended up creating with them. So it's not moving on, but I can tell you that the first slide, the first video was, what is PPI and why should I be doing it? Oh, are you able to move it now?
Do you want me to move the slide or play the video?
Oh, just move this, just do the slides.
Okay.
And then we'll do the videos at the end. So that's cool.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, so so I'll just show you 3 kind of stills of what's in each slide, and you can go and find the resources online. They're all freely available on our website, but then maybe we'll just end up with playing a little bit so that you can see it. So if we can move to the next slide, that would be great. Doesn't want to. Well, I'll just talk you through it.
The last slide there.
So we should be gone to 11.
Oh, 11. Okay. That's 11.
Oh, right. Then the next one.
Okay. This one?
Well, it's not changing for me. I don't know whether if it's changing for anybody else.
No, it's not changing for me either.
All right, it's changing. So it's changing. So we're on video 3 now on my screen.
Ah, right. So we're still on introducing Dr. Sock.
Oh, really? Okay, that's strange.
Yeah, if you stop sharing and reshare.
Okay, I'll stop sharing and I'll try again. Sorry about this, everybody. So
That's one tech problem. You can't go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. Can we go back to the one before that?
Okay.
There we go. Brilliant.
Sorry about that, everybody.
No, so video 1 is, what is PPI and why should I do it? And so what you'll see is we've got some sock puppets that are going to be talking about stuff, but also they interviewed academics, they interviewed young people that had taken part in PPI, and just got some thoughts around how you could make it meaningful and how we can work together. And the aim being to make it so that it's not daunting for researchers to want to get involved in research, particularly in a topic that's quite difficult like self-harm and suicide. So the next slide will be about video 2. So in that one, it was all about, well, how do you run your first event? And so let's get some practical examples about what you should do and how you should do it to make it fun for people, and how you can make sure that you're kind of, recognizing and celebrating what young people are contributing to you. And then in video 3, the decision was that we would focus on, right, you've reached the end of your session, and then what? And thinking about how you can make sure that this has been a meaningful and not just a tick box exercise. And being comfortable with it being messy and ambiguous was a key thing that young people said. It doesn't need to be perfect all the time. Let's be a bit ambiguous and messy and explore where that takes us, recognizing that we need to be safe. But so those are the resources. When you go to the website, you can find all of these and some different examples. But what are the chances of us playing a little bit of a video, Lou? That's where you can find out more.
Let's have a look. So you summarize there and talk, and I'll see if I can find can you put a link into the chat section there?
No, I will. I will do that.
And then I will try and play it from my side then.
Okay.
And apologies everyone for the tech hiccup there. So what we're trying to do now is share one of the videos. And okay.
And so if you go to, I'll put the link to the website. When you click on that, you'll be able to see the resources. There's and then you can watch the videos, and feel free to kind of share the information. There's also links to kind of things like the safety plans that we might use, and some of the different kind of resources that we've got. But I'm not very good at multitasking, so I'm just going to write it in.
Is the link there or no?
I'm going to put it in.
Okay, let me see. Okay, So this is the website, everybody. So if this doesn't work, I'm really sorry, but the link is hopefully in the chat now. So these are the videos here, and these are the sock puppets. So just, I can't hear any.
Dr. Sock, why are you so excited? Because I've just finished my magnum opus, Youth, Dialectics and Dogs. Oh, wow, that sounds certainly fascinating. I'm sure you've done PPI. What? PPI. What? PPI.
I can no longer hear the audio.
Hello, it's your uncle, the renowned and well-respected researcher, Dr. Sock. Just wondering what you, as a young person, thought about youth dog dialectics. Oh, you don't know what that means? Okay. PPI done.
Okay. So that is one